shamanism is very different. It's low magic, so we're thinking automatically of the elements, and I just love the fact that I'm touching this rock. This is a stone, and there's magic in stones. One of the things a shaman can do if a person has gone through some really difficult experiences, and suppose they've been spending far too much time in their head. Maybe they spent a lot of time in university, maybe they got out of their heads on too many drugs. Well, one of the things that a shaman would do is they would get hold of a number of stones and they would place the stones on the person's body. The person would be lying down, they would lay the stones on the person's body. And the act of doing that would ground the person. And it's such simple low magic. All you're doing is using the stones to ground the human being. And at the end of the process, the stones would be removed, they'd be taken outside, put into the moonlight or put into water to be recharged with the energy of nature. Very simple magic. Simple other thing that shamans do is they make use of a feather. You can use a feather, and this is part of my training, everything I'm talking about is part of my training. You can use a feather, you can draw out negative energies from the client. So if the client's lying down there, the shaman gets hold of the feather which they've cleansed with either tobacco smoke or sage smoke, and they move the feather very, very slowly, about 6 inches above the person's body. They move it far more slowly than I'm actually moving my hand. I'm speeding it up so that you don't get bored when you're watching this, but they would take maybe 20 to 30 minutes to move this hand 6 feet from the person's head to the person's feet. And doing that, the feather would actually draw the negative energy up into the feather, and at the end of the process the shaman would then cleanse the feather, which would get all the negative energies out. So that's a really traditional old school shamanic practice, using stones, using feathers. The other form of natural resource you mentioned quite rightly is plants. And I would regard myself to be a plant spirit shaman because I do work with plants a lot. I can work with them in the 3rd/4th dimensional world by literally going out and harvesting a plant, drying the plant, and then giving the person that plant to drink in a tea or to consume in some other way. Or, and this is the way I prefer to do things, I actually work directly with the spirits of the plants. If I'm doing a healing on someone, quite often I'm called to work with particular plant spirits. If they've got negative energies which have intruded into their energy bodies, I will be working with ayahuasca. If the person needs grounding, I will work with a herb called wood betony. If the person has got particularly polluted blood, I will work with yarrow, one of the very old English herbs for blood poisoning. The other herb I will also work with, also very good against blood poisoning, is burdock. Those are amongst the herbs that I tend to work with, and I work directly with the spirits of the plants, which means I don't even need to go and harvest the plants. All I need to do is to be in my trance state and to call upon the energy of that plant and ask the energy of that plant to enter and inhabit the energy body of my client. This they do with great alacrity because they love to work with human beings. This is something I'd really want you to understand. There's an incredible unknown relationship going on between the plant kingdom and the human kingdom, and this is the way it works. This is not 100%, this is about 90%, more than 90% of all plants have a great desire to work with human beings, because they have a great love for us, and they recognise that our path is not an easy one. Coming to this planet and being a human being, there's war, there's torture, there's sexual abuse, there's all sorts of hideous things going on, starvation. It's not easy to be human, they know that, so they like to help in any way they can. The most obvious way they help us is when we sit down to eat a good dinner. And it's really great to give thanks and gratitude to the plants that you might be consuming as your food. And supposing you don't consume plants, supposing you consume animals like pigs and cows and sheep, well, guess what, they all eat plants anyway, so you're still consuming plants. So whichever way you look at it, you are a consumer of plants, even if you're a straight down the line carnivore. So great respect and gratitude for the spirit of the plants is highly recommended. Something my shamanic colleagues and I sometimes do is we will lay out all the plants that we like to make a meal with, all the different fruits and vegetables, and then we'll pick up a particular one, like say a carrot or some peas or some broccoli. We will go and do a short shamanic journey. We'll tune into the spirit of that plant and ask that plant, hello, spirit of the carrot, what is it that you particularly offer? And if you ask this question, you'll find that the plant will actually answer you, and the plant will explain exactly what qualities it is that the carrot is good for, or what qualities it's good that the sweet corn is good for, or what qualities it's good that apples are good for. And I'm not going to go into any detail, but I'll just mention, when it comes to purification, apples are one of the kings of the fruits for this purpose. and anyone who's done journeying to the spirit of the apple knows that they represent the qualities of beauty and eternity. And through consuming apples, we get not just nutrition, we get real healing. So some other really traditional methods that shamans would use is they would work with the fire. If a client had got some certain problems, they would actually light a fire and sit the client down next to the fire, and they would provide some sticks, small sticks about that size, called faggots. And what you'd do is you'd say to the client, okay, I want you to think about the qualities in your life that are no longer serving you, ways of behaving that you have. Maybe you are irritable, maybe you're cantankerous, maybe you're bitchy, maybe you're hostile, maybe you're unfriendly, whatever qualities you'd like to get rid of. You take a stick and you say, I put all my unfriendliness into this stick, and then you would cast it into the fire. That's a really simple traditional shamanic practice. The other thing that a shaman would do is he would simply have a conversation with the fire. You give thanks and blessings to the spirit of the fire, and if there's something that you wanted answering, then the fire would be able to answer those questions for you. So the client could come along with, say, a problem about their relationship, and the shaman would make it fire and get into a dialogue with the fire, the spirits of the fire, because this is what it is, you see. For a shaman, everything is alive. There's no such thing as deadness. Nothing is dead, everything's alive. The stone is alive, the plant is alive, the human body is alive, the fire is alive, the water is alive. So fires can be used for purification, for cleansing, for advice, for healing. Water. All shamans have great respect for water. Generally all magical practitioners make a big deal about water. They think it's really great to drink water, and they know it's as important, or maybe even more important, to wash regularly. The act of washing is one of the simplest ways of cleansing your body, and not just your body but your spirit as well. So these are great ways to deal with things. Then there are certain more, shall I call them, abstruse practices that shamans have used for a very, very long time. One is spitting, where you might spit upon the client and then rub the spit into the client. That would be if you wanted to use some particular energy or essence of your own as the practitioner. You then draw it into your mouth. You draw it up from whatever part of your body it was to come from into your mouth. You'd spit it onto the person, rub it over. So that could be used to deal with a problem that a person might have, like a skin condition. Something else that the client might find the shaman doing is rather the opposite. If the client has got something that's got to be taken out, and it's got to be taken out right now because it's really toxic, what the shaman can do is they can literally put their mouth on the part of the person's body and they can suck. And they will literally suck the energy out that's toxic and harmful. And when they've done that, they will then walk a few feet away and they will expectorate that substance out. Because if you're taking something toxic or hostile out of a client, you're not going to let it stay in your own body, you're going to get rid of it. Now, there's something that I've been saying in between the lines through all this, but I have not actually come out and said it. I make use of very, very few of these traditional shamanic practices, and that's because of the special helpers I have, Pendle and Nemedja, and the two of which do not wish to be named, and it's because of all the insight and initiation they've given me, and it means that I'm able to work in what I consider to be a far more efficient manner. I'm able to do a lot more work, a lot quicker, by working with them. And it means that, well, as I say, for example, I don't go out gathering plants and drying them and giving them to people to consume. Not much. Sometimes I actually do that. Sometimes I'm guided and called to provide the plant to the person, but mostly, 98% of the time, I don't do that. I do all the work in the spiritual realms. And the reason why is because it's a lot more efficient. It means I can treat a lot more clients by working directly in the energy realms. So that's the reason why I don't use so many of these traditional practices.